Today, I want to talk about the whole concept of separate but equal. So, after getting into a bit of a scuffle with this racist guy at my school, I I got into a bit of trouble. I mean, it is a professional school, but still, it was dumb. And the way institutional law handled my punishment, well, it happened to be from the same office that deals with discrimination and disability issues. So, them being white and having many more connections than me and being of quite a bit more privilege and me being a brown gal, and the fact that that punishment was carried out through that office specifically, and I would face penalties if I tried to contact them again and continue our scuffle that ended up not going too hot. Well, it reminded me of a lot of things. And one of the biggest things it reminded me of was the whole concept of separate but equal. You know, that thing that they used to try and justify segregation back in the 1960s and 70s and stuff. Yeah, that thing. So, why, I feel like I have to have this conversation again with the rise of American fascism and bigoted views and dehumanizing of certain groups of people and women and brown women and black women. And why does that not work? Here's the sneaky part about separate but equal. Well, first of all, we all know that once you know, push people of color, especially black people in this country, into their own little corner, that they obviously have less resources, less advantages, worse living spaces, and less opportunities than a lot of white people in this country. Same with Native Americans. There's a thing called gentrification that exists in a lot of places, even nowadays. So saying, well, they can stay in their own little corner and we'll stay in ours is extremely it's just another way of saying we're not going to share the plenty that we have. You guys figure out how to make it on your own with the breadcrumbs we have spared you, while taking no accountability for any damage that we did to your group of people. Another thing it does is that if you don't have to talk to someone, there is no way that you can ever see them as human, and there is no way that they will even have an opportunity to compromise with or make their argument with the oppressor, because it's just saying, well, we're not talking to each other, and therefore there is no way or no chance in hell that you can come in and show me that we actually as humans share a lot more in common and melt my heart and give me the chance of giving you your human rights and making things more equal and fair for you. So that's another thing that the whole concept of separate but equal does, in a society that it already contains a lot of systemic and systematic injustices. Another argument I hear is, well, maybe some people don't deserve to have their rights. To which I say, yeah, Donald Trump doesn't deserve to have a lot of rights, being the piece of shit that he is, but he has them anyway, so who are you to go around judging if, overly scrutinizing women, brown women, women of color, black people, brown people, poor white people, uh, you know, the whole LGBTQ people, the whole slew, um, but especially poor and people of color, because we tend to get, um, despite whatever other labels we have, we just usually tend to get the worst end of the stick. Um, you know, you can go around scrutinizing our every little move and action and constantly make us justify our existence and pit us against each other and justify why we should have even basic rights such as being able to speak and hang out in society. It's just all bad faith BS. Bad faith BS. And, yes, I know as a brown woman, my experiences are still quite a bit different than what black people went through in this country. But I will say, my parents did not come from wealth in their home country. They were affected by British colonization, including the parts, some of our ancestors suffered the parts where they were barely able to afford even salt and food and were starving because that's what colonization did to our freaking economy. Um, so yeah, we have our own grudges towards the white race, specific parts of it at least. Um, and then we came to this country, and of course, as many other immigrants, especially Asian or South Asian immigrants, we came. My father came through his academic pursuits and accolades, and yes, he came legally. But even after decades and decades of working, their bosses still give them trouble, try to steal their credit, take their credit. I mean, it got to the point where we had to almost consider getting a lawyer. It was like when it was bad enough to like where you heard those stories of those like those really good Harvard researchers getting targeted and stuff. Like it was that extent of serious, and you know that BS happened even after decades of hard work from them. And of course, just the constant outcasting of brown people and all the micro and macro aggressions that occur on both high school and college campuses that me and a lot of other brown people have experienced. Like, I don't know, those scary white frat boys on college campuses that like yell slurs at you as you're walking walking through campus, just trying to cool your head off, and then because yeah, that's gonna make me feel safe. um it's just another thing I noticed is that sometimes these types of guys, they want to hook up with gals like us, but it's very much done from you're like this exotic shiny object that I want to conquer. So there's still that type of like dominance and colonialist dominance in the whole charade. But as soon as I, speak my mind or show them that I know how to think for myself, um, all of that falls apart. They get extremely mad, extremely aggressive, vengeful. And it's like, I mean, this in itself is just another form of you trying to take away my rights because I won't fit into your little box of this exotic shiny object that is to be conquered by you. Now you want to call me crazy, which is basically what happened with the guy I was talking about earlier. Um, so yeah, this is all like just tied in together. The internalized racism and misogyny, as well as the externalized racism and misogyny, and how that's like a type of societal injustice. And then when those people vengefully try to carry out institutional laws to prevent me from being able to have intellectual discussions with them or have them see the fully human side of me, well, all that really does is take us back to a point in our history that we should not be proud of. So, yeah, screw the whole concept of separate but equal. It is a BS, and whoever supports it is. Their brain is made of Cheetos. Goodbye.